According to Wikipedia, motivation is the reason or reasons that one has for acting or behaving in a particular way, or the general desire or willingness someone has to do something. There are two popular types of motivation. The first is intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation means that the person's motivation is coming from within. They have a desire to perform a task, to get a good grade, something that is fulfilling from within. Some of the deep-rooted desires are acceptance, curiosity, honor, independence, order, power, social contract, and social status are some examples. The second type of motivation is extrinsic motivation. This motivation comes from an outside source. So our desires are to earn something, to get something of sorts. So for example, a child would get a sticker, a token, a trinket. For adults, it would be a pay raise, a bonus, anything of that sort. This flowchart is a great representation breaking down extrinsic motivation, like I said, coming from an outside source, and intrinsic motivation, the emotions and other things that impact us. So, how important is motivation in the classroom, and what can I do to get my students motivated? In studying curriculum design, we read the text Understand by Design. In the book, I learned a couple instructional elements that are key to motivation with children. Where to is an instructional element in planning. The W stands for where the unit's headed. The H, hook the students. This is the key element. Another acronym in the where to instructional sequence of planning would be the T, tailored to reflect the student's styles, needs, and interests. Use the information that you know about your students and their learning styles and their needs to then create something that would be important to them so that they're excited about learning, they're motivated about it, and they want to do well on an assignment. Take a step back and put yourself in your student's shoes. Think, if there's something that you're excited to do, wouldn't you be more likely to get it done? Versus if there's something that you're not excited to do, you don't have much creativity to do something or anything of that nature. If you're able to express yourself, you have, an open outlet, and you're able to feel excited about what you're learning about, you're more likely going to remember that knowledge as well. So that makes the lesson that you're teaching impact them far more than if they were just to read chapter 15 out of the text. So motivation is extremely important to education. Understanding our students' interests is very important, but another thing of interest is getting the children interested in what they're learning about. Relate it to their past experience, make the learning vivid, novel, something that they're able to really embark in. The next way would be success. So ways to promote success in your classroom is to first choose something that is appropriate for the students. Don't make the level so difficult. You will use scaffolding, obviously, to get them where they need to be, but you want to start low so that they can feel good in what they're doing, and you give them a bunch of practice and things like that. And also recognize the success your students have. Tell them good job, praise them. I know that myself, I feel good if I'm learning something and I get validation that I'm doing it correctly. Level of concern is the next point. Level of concern is the degree of expectancy that someone is feeling in the atmosphere that is within the classroom. So, for example, you can control the concern on the amount of time you spend on a topic, how hard a topic is, and pacing your lesson. It's often easier to engage children with a smaller task and a smaller lesson when you're first introducing it. The fourth point is the feeling tone. That's the feeling in the environment that the learner has. And commonly there's 3 types: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. I know that in my educational career that my favorite teacher was able to teach me about topics that were not pleasurable to me. I was not good at history, but this teacher was able to connect with me, and their tone was so pleasant that I felt excited about learning. I felt valued, and that this information was clearly and truly important. The last piece is the knowledge of feedback. You want your feedback to be immediate. You want your feedback to be specific. You want your feedback to be valuable to the student. So if you know that a student is struggling on a certain aspect and they finally were able to complete it, you want to make sure that you're on top of it, and that you let them know that you're so proud of them that they're able to finally do the addition, other than just going around and telling kids good job, because you need to tell them what they're getting a good job for. In studying about motivation theory, its impact on curriculum, and how to motivate students, I came across this quote: "Students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care." I think that is paramount in learning about education and curriculum. Your students need to know that you are invested in them, so that they can become invested in you. Another piece that stuck out with me while learning about motivation itself was this quote. It's a Chinese proverb. It says, "Tell me and I forget, show me and I remember, involve me and I understand." I think that in creating your curriculum and understanding about motivation, you need to get the students involved. You need to make them a part of the learning so that it's not so much lecture, they can learn hands-on. And if you can do the different modes of learning, visual, verbal, kinesthetic, and such, and get those embedded in your lesson, not only will you be reaching a wider variety of students, but you'll also be able to involve your students and give them those experience. Involve them, make them catalysts in the learning, so that then they are able to remember more. In conclusion, there are different types of motivation: extrinsic and intrinsic. It doesn't matter what type of motivation the child uses, but motivation is a key component in getting students excited about learning, being able to remember things, and being lifelong learners in your classroom. If you just provide them with lectures and worksheets and textbook lessons, that's learning that's not going to stick. You need to make sure that you motivate them, you take their interest, you take everything that you know about them, their different learning styles as a class as a whole, and you use that to tailor your learning. Also, you can use things to motivate them as rewards. You can give them extra time. If they're able to do a task that they don't prefer, you could give them rewards as sticker charts and things and like that. That's also a good way to motivate them. I find that with younger children, the stickers and things that they're able to show off are more valuable to them, because they're not yet at the point where intrinsically they know that they're able to feel good from hearing a teacher tell you good job. Thank you for watching my film on the motivation theory, and I hope that now you feel empowered to use this new information, to take these tools, utilize them in your classroom, and hopefully create lessons that are valuable to the students and that you see success in. Thank you.